What's up, Shellheads? Welcome back. Tonight, we've got something a little different for you. We've got three big names in the industry. What industry? Our industry. It's toys, of course. Three guys who took it upon themselves to step out there and do their own thing, do their own Kickstarter, and put out a radical product. And we're going to get to talk to them tonight. So sit back, relax, strap it on in, because we're going to be covering some Toy Biz, some Hasbro, and some other names you love. Welcome back, because this is Drinks and Toys.
In danger.
Yeah.
What's up, Shellheads? Welcome back. We're here on a beautiful Tuesday evening. This is your boy, Shellhead Tony. Very excited for this. It's going to be some cool shit. I've got with me, as always, Mr. Johnny 5. Johnny, how are you, sir?
What up? Salute, everyone. Doing good. How are you guys doing?
Absolutely, man. Salute. And Weizie, how are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm here. I'm excited. Let's do it.
And welcome back, because this is Drinks and Toys, and we've got something special for you. You know, we get a little bit of little guests here and there, man. But we're excited, man. These cats came on board, and we're excited they responded. And so I am here with Mr. Adam Winker. I can't do it, man.
Van Wickler. It's cool. It's fine. Everyone says it like Vanilla Ice. Rob Van Winkle. So I hear that all the time too.
That's awesome.
I've never
and here rapper. With Mr. Phil Ramirez. How are you, sir?
Good. Nice
you get his name right.
Well, I mean, different letters. And
Adam, if you haven't caught on by now, this isn't a professional production here.
No.
It's okay. We aren't either.
We have fun, man. That's all it is. And then, of course, Mr. Josh couldn't join us tonight, but that's okay. I mean, we'll have to have you guys back, I'm sure, because I can already tell this is going to be a good time. So excited, man, because you guys have a Kickstarter going for some seriously dope-ass figures, man. Like I'm looking at the pictures, and I'm stoked about. I love Gordy, which is awesome. And then the Fly, that came out fucking amazing. They did it awesome. And then I was asking Weizie, I said, man, is there stories to any of this? And he goes, yeah, well, if you click the link, you'll be able to get to it. So literally click the link, and I started reading the backstories, and I'm a story guy. Like, you can make figures all day long, but if there's no story, I don't really care. It's just another figure that's out there. But they're all done, and I'm not buttering your toast, man. That's just not me, but they were all done so well. They were thoughtful backstories. Like, I dug them to the point where I was like, I almost wish these were like short films, almost like the VHS series.
That's exactly the concept.
Yeah, well, like I grew up with action figures, and G.I. Joe was one of my favorite lines, the original 3 3/4 inch. So the G.I. Joe file cards, like I have like a soft spot in my heart for like file cards with little bios and stuff that just give you just enough story where it's like it lets your imagination run wild for like playing with the toys and putting them in situations. And I insisted on it, but Phil is honestly he's the brains behind a lot of the stories. He has awful spelling and awful grammar, so I was his editor, but he did the writing, and I just kind of tweaked it here and there. And while I was doing that, it just made me fall in love with the characters even more. But Phil, if you want to talk a little bit about the concept of the overall characters and the different stories.
The concept is that they could be standalone like B movies or horror films. Each character is its own its own movie. I'm a big horror head. I've been watching horror movies since I was way too young.
B-rated all day, man.
Yeah, so it's all like imagine it as an anthology, and every single character is its own story, its own character, and at the end, because we have some that are old, some that are new monsters, that there'll be a whole thing if we can get this off the ground.
Avengers Assemble.
Yeah, exactly. Put everything together. But as of right now, it's just individual. Each character is its own story. It's its own movie.
And even we've teased a little bit of this. We haven't shown anything yet because we're trying to keep some surprises to like throw out there over the course of the month. Yeah, we have a whole month that we have to keep people interested. But packaging is what I'd like Phil to tell you guys a little bit more about next, because we have like our characters that are like the creatures, like monsters that are like a little bit more like human turned monster creature, and then we have our like demons, spirits, and it's like it's two opposing teams. But Phil, do you want to kind of give them an idea of what
We're
thinking?
packaging the modern monsters will be VHS tapes, like old school VHS
That's
tapes,
dope.
full anthology
It'll
in the back. It'll
Slightly
be
larger than VHS tapes, but the same dimensions.
and
Yeah,
then
I still think that's dope. Any kind of clamshell almost style casing.
yeah,
Exactly.
and then because we'll have the same casing, the demons are all going to be like old books. Like it'll all look like old books.
Oh,
Same
that's cool.
packaging, so they'll sit next to each other.
So it'll be a closed box, but the flap like what NECA Ultimate figures are like and everything. So it's like it looks like a full closed box, but then you have like a Velcro tab front flap
you.
that
Kinda
opens
like
up
the,
you can see the figure.
Like
You
the
could
Four
see it.
Horsemen, they're figure obscuras. They're like
Exactly, figure obscura, the Big Bad Toy Store, the Monster Force figures that just came out, like
Right.
that same kind of deal. So it's like it's a collector friend. Like if you can't tell, I'm an opener. Like I believe in opening up, playing with your toys. Articulation is like my god. So I'm yes, but I do appreciate a good package. So
Thank you.
There's a bunch of packages here.
yeah, having collector friendly packaging in general was like it's something that we want to do, you know. So it's like if you did want to keep it in the package, fine, or you can always open it up, take the figure out, mess with it, and if you want to put it back in there to store it, like that's cool too.
So
And
like the
That's great, yeah.
so like Jin and then what Hate would come like in the book, right?
Yeah, exactly. Jin, Hate, and Rage all come in the book.
That's
So
so
that is
dope
so
looking,
sick.
man.
That's the
That's
gin right there.
That's
I actually collect older horror books, and the
Oh, nice.
thing about collecting those is you know, the covers on them. You know, I really like unique ones, so that's definitely going to fit perfectly in there with that. Because
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've thought a lot about this. Like, I want to
Yeah,
we want to do something that like hasn't been done, and if it has been done, it's a new take. Everything's been done, but we're doing a new take on stuff that's always been done.
But
Everything-
like
and
your
we've
style,
been working on this for over 5 years. At this
whatever
point.
style you guys are like, you bring to the table yourself individually, right? So your personal interests and what you care about is going to come out in your work, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think the VHS thing, you're going to capture so many people. I'm an inbox guy. I can't help it. It's just me. If I want to open, there's got to be one to show, one to go.
Yeah.
Like I
That's
can't.
fair.
I can't open the one that I got, but I can open a second one if I have it. But I'm big on packaging, so for me, that's dope because I love box art. I can appreciate how much effort goes into that box art. Because if you just went to the store and you bought a brown box, you're like, well, I'm not interested in this. They buy it because it looks really sick, and then they see the toy and it's even sicker, and so it just makes you want to buy it. So like, but,
you're gonna dig it. Like we are planning on teasing some of our preliminary art for the packaging, and the one that we did first is actually one of my favorites of all of the characters. You may have seen him already, but it is the Wendigo,
that's dope.
which he has this awesome deer skull helmet.
That's creepy as
Oh
shit.
jeez. They are 3D printed prototypes, so I apologize.
All right, let's go ahead and click the button here, guys. We'll try somebody
I
else.
have a question for you guys on that because I remember, what was it, almost like a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
I remember seeing some images of that.
Yes.
It was,
Yeah,
it was all crazy.
we've been
Yeah.
teasing for a while. We
Yeah.
originally showed
I had hair when we started the line.
yeah. the original Cursed Dead stuff premiered at DesignerCon in Anaheim in 2019, November of 2019.
Wow.
So yeah,
dude.
we've been working on it for a while. We showed it off there, and then I don't know if you guys remember what happened in early 2020, but we had this little thing called the pandemic,
That was
and
fun.
so that kind of threw us for a loop. And then Phil and myself, obviously, we both have day jobs in the toy industry, and we both have families. We both have kids. Our other partner, Josh Falcon, who is not here with us tonight because he also has a little one. So, pandemic slowed us down, family, day jobs. We have finally, obviously, gotten everything together and, managed to finish up the prototypes, get everything factory ready. And obviously, that's why we're here talking to you today is we finally were able to launch this Kickstarter.
So let's go back a little bit. Speaking of, how did you three come together? Like, how does this actually, the spark, that kind of launched this whole thing?
Phil, you want to talk about it?
I don't actually know. I mean, I've known these guys forever. Like Josh is Josh's brother's Jesse Falcon, who's my best friend.
Jesse Falcon, in case you guys don't know, like you may or may not know, but he's the guy who basically started Marvel Legends. He was at Toy Biz. Now he's Disney Marvel, but like whenever there's like the San Diego Comic-Con Marvel Legends panels, Jesse is up there on stage, and his younger brother Josh is Phil's best friend. So
I'm really good. I'm real tight with the Falcon family, and then Adam I've known for quite a long time as well, and he, we all kind of talked about doing a toy line together, and I'd already like started fucking around with this thing, so we decided to go with the monsters and just an easy like. There's probably a market for it. It's with you don't necessarily have to create a incredibly new IP. There's a built-in market for it, and hopefully our take will be respected and enjoyed.
Well,
it's doing pretty good so far.
Yeah. What got me is that I'm a big paranormal enthusiast. So when it came up, I saw the Wendigo. I'm like, holy shit, that's awesome. Because I've told these guys for a while now that I've been waiting for a company to do just like a line of cryptids. Like,
there's someone, I think Gene St. Jean has a line of cryptids, dude.
Yeah, because like the only thing I've seen is somebody's like they've done a werewolf, but they've done like 4 versions of a werewolf. I'm like, oh, I want like Mothman. Give me a Wendigo. Give me like.
Check out Gene St. Jean. Gene St. Jean. I know for sure he's done it.
Phil is being really nice. That stuff it's a little bit bigger, a little bit less articulated.
Yeah, but there's
some nice sculpts, but it's not this.
Check out Gene's stuff. He's a great sculptor.
Adam's plugging a little harder than you are. Just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what got my attention because I'm like, I've always just wanted that. Like, I want there's every state has tons of cryptids. Like, there's a whole slew of material. Lizardmen, like all kinds of craziness.
Wait until you see some of the. I mean, like if fingers crossed that we get funded, but we've got 2 stretch goals that are in the sculpt phase right now that we'd really love to get into this first wave, and then we've got so much stuff planned. But the idea is that we're going to make these monsters that are like classic monsters like from that we all recognize. But we also want to do our take on our own stuff. Like we have the Christmas themed guy, the Crankle, that I think, like, honestly, like when Phil first told me about his concept for this guy, I was just like, it's like the Krampus or something. But then it was like, no, it went into its own direction. Like Phil, this character, like, I don't want to just say what it is. Leave that up to you. But it's like, to tell them a little bit, because like the only thing we've really shown about the Crankle is images of the sculpt, and then Phil did the song, which that's actually Phil's voice. He did the recording for the music for the Crankle music video. But yeah, he wrote and recorded the song. Dude's crazy.
So the concept is the Crankle is an alien who got really into the Santa folklore, and he's a Santa fanboy basically, and he's taking it upon himself because he's deranged, essentially, to stop kids from catching a glimpse of Santa because you're not supposed to do that. So if he catches you staying up late to see Santa Claus, he dismantles you and puts you on his Christmas tree.
Holy shit, that's great.
So creepy.
I
I
wrote
want
it
to see a short film. You need to get with somebody.
I wrote it in like very like Seussian rhyme scale. So I've read it to kids, and kids weird out by it.
Yeah, the it's on our YouTube page, which is like linked through our social media and the Kickstarter. But the Crankle Christmas song, when I first got it from Phil, I was like, holy crap, this is super creepy. And then I played it for my son, who just turned 11, and he was like, this is so scary. I was like, yeah.
I'm gonna have to look it up, because this morning I was watching, I think Robo on the Rewind. He played
right at the beginning of the video. He had the clip of it, like at the beginning of the Rewind.
Yeah, I thought it was something he made. So now I'm gonna have to go down to look for it and find it.
It's in
my voice.
We have it linked through the Kickstarter campaign page, but also if you go into the Kickstarter campaign, you can find a link to our YouTube page as well. So it's in there too.
Yeah.
Because I've been on the Kickstarter with my phone, because I've been on my phone, and it just shows that there's a video, but when I push it, my phone doesn't allow it to open up. So I was like, all right, there's something. I haven't watched it yet. That's gonna be awesome.
Definitely. We're at The Curse Dead, all one word, on YouTube if you wanted to search it as well. But check it out. It's definitely worth the watch. It is super freaking creepy.
It's awesome.
Nice.
Like, hats off to you guys, man, with all these bios, man. Hey, and you're going like the extra mile, what have you. Like I said, if you get a story behind a character, it makes that character that much more real, for one thing. And there's like an investment with that character. So hats off to you guys. That's awesome. That's a crazy ass twist to the story. And I'm not gonna lie, I've never been a Mythic Legions fan, right? And they make cool stuff, but it's just not my thing. It doesn't draw my interest.
Same. It's cool stuff though. Great.
Yeah,
stuff.
it's awesome stuff. I
have quite a few of the Figuras Obscura, Mythic Legions, and Cosmic Legions. I didn't go all in because I literally buy a little bit of everything. I'm the most excited though, because the stuff they just unveiled at Legions Con, they're incorporating double joints, and it's like I said, I'm articulation junkie, so that hyena with double joints, the new guy in armor with the double joint, it's like, you got me now I'm in, with crazy amounts of articulation.
And of course, the dragon and the articulation on that.
I
thought about buying.
It's like, how much money is that going to be? I want it, but again, with vehicles living on the floor in here already, I'm like, where am I going to put this?
I think that dragon will take up your whole table, dude.
Yeah.
I can't believe my wife is on board with the dragon. She's like,
really?
We'll put it in the living room. And I was like,
my wife would probably be cool with the dragon too. She's, she likes her crazy fantasy stuff. So
I'm divorced, so everything's cool with everything at my house.
Well, yeah, you've got a giant terror dome on your fucking dining table. So
I had to take off the back doors of my house to get it in. It was great.
That's awesome.
So Phil, I wanted to ask you something, because I was looking at the gallery on your website, and I love the sculpture work you do, man. It's really incredible stuff. And I love art, so I love to draw and paint and all that stuff. So seeing that's really incredible. So I just kind of been curious, what got you into sculpting? What was that?
It's a long story, but I'll give you the abridged version. I was 17 years old. My brother lived next door, or my brother's best friend lived next door to a guy who worked at a company called Varner Studios. And Varner was the guys that did the Turtles, the OG Turtles.
Original Playmates Ninja.
The original Playmates.
Did the original sculpts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got in there to get it, because I was like 17, 16, still buying toys, which was not very cool back then.
it wasn't.
In 1989 and 1990, I was afraid when I was in toy stores.
It was not very cool until recently, and
he had to register when he moved. That's how bad it was.
It's way cooler now. And I got in there the guy gave me a tour, and I drew and I painted lead miniatures because I played D&D, and they offered me a job, essentially being like a mold maker, janitor. Like, if they had stuff extra, they'd have me try stuff. And that was right out of high school. And
nice.
And then one day I had nothing to do. So they said, you want to try sculpting? And I said, sure. And the first thing I ever did was first round approved, and I was a sculptor then. It just made sense to me for whatever reason. And I was a sculptor at
Nice.
about late 17, early 18. And the first thing I ever did was a Toxic Avenger head. I copied a mask that was going to be for a thing you played with that was a glowing mop. And at the end of it had a Toxie head. And I did the Toxie head.
I still love that they made action figures of that movie for kids.
Well, it was
like
a cartoon.
I know, like of the cartoon and stuff, but like it's like
it's an insane.
so bonkers.
It's so
The
insane.
movie was so raw and gritty, man.
We were discussing that in our last episode that how it seemed like Toxie, it's all cartoon based. Like I'd love to see somebody go all out on a movie line.
I want a NECA. I want a dirty looking Toxie, man.
I worked for Soda Toys before I started at Gentle Giant, and they did do one back in like probably around like 2004. It was a line called Now Playing, which was a lot like Movie Maniacs and
they did Killer Clowns too and all that.
Exactly. Like there was like very minor articulation. But it was movie based. But yeah, it also
there's not a lot. There's not a lot.
Good luck finding it. So
Challenge accepted.
With it in that toy industry, you guys actually do work on a lot of stuff that kind of, prototyping a lot of things, and then sometimes it just doesn't get launched, right? For one reason or another, it's very common in toy industry where it just gets scrapped, and they're like, all right, well, we're not doing this, moving on. Was there something that you guys, each of you guys have worked on and been like, man, I really wish this actually came out and, went all the way through?
Most of the stuff I did was made. Only
bragging.
No, I mean, dude,
Don't be so modest.
Yeah, my shit got made.
I'll say one, Phil. You worked on Battle Chasers, and I wanted those.
Yeah,
those never came out.
That was like a indie toy company, but like for the majors, like the big toy companies, there's a couple of Marvel figures or Toy Biz figures that never came out that I wish would have come out. Like the last figures we did for them, which was the comic book Legends.
That's like honestly, it's funny you say that. That would be my same answer, even though Phil and I were working for the same client, which was Toy Biz. It was different toys that he worked on than what I worked on.
I did a Mean Machine and Frost Giant for that line that never got made.
For me, it would have been that same line, and it would have been the Dark Horse Hunter Rose Grendel, because I was always been a big comic book fan, and Grendel has always had like a really cool look. He's like kind of like black costume Spider-Man / ninja kind of look, and we did like a really nice articulated Hunter Rose Grendel that never got released because Toy Biz got basically owned by Disney at that point, like totally bought out.
Yep.
Oh shit.
So when did you guys stop with Toy Biz?
When they ended.
Yeah, it was like right up until the end. But that was, I think, in the probably 2008-ish. I
okay,
feel
so
like.
there's a particular, I always bring it up and nobody cares about it, but there's a particular line for Toy Biz that I've always loved because I love the show. And it was called the Bots Master.
Oh, snap. Yeah,
so
I actually know about that toy line.
Sweet.
Totally random.
Oh my God. So again, I love B-rated horror, right? And I love B-rated toys. So Bots Master was just what it sounds like, right? It's all mecha, people piloting the mecha. And it was the first show that ever came out. It was 3D. It was super cool. And so I bought the Jungle Fiver was their combiner made by Toy Biz. And I have one in the box, and it is probably one of the worst toys for transforming.
I don't even know when that came out. What year was it?
Oh, so there's old. Dude, there's an evil scientist called Dr. Hiss. This is in the 90s.
Old, man.
I'm going to be 44, so that tells you anything. But
it's okay. I'm 40. I'm 46, 47.
I got you all beat heavily.
Yeah.
So it was an evil scientist, and he is part of this generation of madmen that is everything mecha. Like, he's got a robotic leg. It reminds me of the movie Class of 1999, where everything's a cyborg. And so that's what this guy is, and he builds these mecha that are borderline stupid, but they support him. and he's fighting this kid. His name is Ziv Zoolander, and he's got his own arsenal of bots because he's super smart, of course. And so it's constantly just a battle of the good and evil kind of thing. And they produced a couple figures here and there, which are ridiculous if you can find them, and if you can, they're super expensive. But they made that combiner, and that's my favorite piece I've ever owned of everything I've ever owned. And I was just really hoping you guys had maybe you knew somebody that worked on it or whatever, but
I started in the toy industry in 2001, so that's before my time.
I was in a record store in 2001.
What's it called again?
Yeah, my first
Master
toy job was I was doing resin castings, silicone mold making resin castings in 2001 for a small toy company in Hoboken, New Jersey. That actually we would get this is how small of a toy world it is, that we would get sculpts from Phil. Not directly from Phil. They would go to Toy Biz first and then be sent to us in Hoboken, New Jersey. And then we would create silicone molds and pour resin castings of them. So I was familiar with Phil's work before he even knew I existed.
Yeah, so cool. 2001, I was still in high school.
Yeah, I graduated high school in 96.
So did my brother. I graduated in 2000, so here we go.
I graduated in 1990.
Woo! Adios mio.
Oh, yeah, I was 6.
I was working in 1990. I was working in the toy industry.
You graduated when the greatest indie film of all time dropped.
Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. What's that, Adam? What'd you say?
You were a teenager sculpting Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there watching that shit.
Ninja yourself.
Dude, I was buying them all, so like whatever.
Yeah,
that is so cool. So
my parents were buying them all.
There you go.
Definitely, let's go back to your line, man. So you guys, you put together this awesome line with a great arsenal of figures. It like wasn't ones and twosies. You guys put out. I mean, what are we up to? 12, 9? How many was it?
9.
There are 9 figures in the first wave.
So first wave.
Yeah,
I love it. So
fingers crossed.
I guess I'm absolutely stupid when it comes to what's considered an army builder and what's considered not. So some of the figures I saw, the first couple, I'm like, okay, these look like these could be army builders, like the blood,
the drinkers.
The brood, yeah, they're the drinkers.
Yes,
we may enjoy non-blood based beverages. So
would we call those an army builder, or it just happens to be the character?
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. So this is a 3D printed prototype that is unpainted of the brood, the drinker. We basically have this one so that way I can mess with the articulation on it and get him into all kinds of crazy poses. But yeah, the idea is that he's kind of like meant to, if you buy a couple and you can make them fight your Marvel Legends or Mezco Blade or something, or like any of the
Blade came to mind actually.
Doc Nocturnal or something. Like it's meant to go along with like any of your different 1/12 scale 6-inch collections. And like honestly, our guys are we printed them out at 7 inches tall. Production shrink is usually about 4%. So it's going to put our final figure when standing straight up and down will be between like 6 3/4 inches and 7 inches. So it kind of even skirts the line between like that NECA 1/10 scale, which I'm also a fan and collector of. So it's like, if you want to put your Ninja Turtles up against these figures, that works. Or, Army of Darkness Ash, or like, something like that. It's like, these can be fudged into that NECA scale or into that like Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe Classified, Monster Force, Valaverse kind of scale as well. So like we're trying to make something that can accompany all these different action figure lines if you want. You could also just, make your own Cursed Head shelf, and I would be totally happy with that as well.
Like, I'm just picturing like the Crankle in the middle and then a bunch of the drinkers like behind them.
All around them. Exactly.
And I get a Witcher vibe. I get if you had a dope ass Witcher figure that would scale, you'd have him and about 1,000 of those dudes.
You could have the Witcher fighting all the and that's it. And it's like I have over here I have my Mezco Conan display. It's like Mezco Conan or Death Dealer or something. Like any of these guys could work with them, and when you're talking about army builders, one of the things that we've done is 8 of the 9 figures in this first wave. They come with multiple heads, multiple hands, character-specific accessories, which you can see in the Kickstarter breakdown. But 8 of the 9 figures also come with this little skull head as well that has an articulated jaw. So you can swap
Army
out
build
the
the
heads
shit out
that
of
are
that.
on the figures with this skull head and make it into like this creepy skull zombie army builder as well. So you have options with 8 of the 9 figures. The only figure that does not come with the skull head is Dr. Crane, the
Which
fly.
makes sense.
Fly.
Yeah.
So yeah, the reason being with that is it is base. The fly figure is built off of that same base body, but he has a lot more unique sculpted parts on him. And we figured anyone that buys the fly is going to keep it as the fly. They're not going to, try to make him into an army builder. They're going to likely want him to just be what he is because he's pretty freaking awesome as
I mean,
is.
obviously,
amazing.
when I saw the fly, the first thing I thought of was Baxter Stockman, right?
That's
Like, Turtles.
Phil has no idea what you're talking about. It's it's a coincidence that he worked on Ninja Turtles.
It's also the Fly, dude.
It's the Fly. Fly, yeah. Fly is a classic
It's like
horror comic, and
it's like if you
But I
took
made it
like
very
Baxter
different.
Stockman and like mix it with Jeff Goldblum, like he kind of works
Oh my
out.
god.
Lots of different things with it. Yeah.
exactly.
You know what?
What's really
Go ahead,
cool
Johnny. I'm
about
sorry,
these
man.
guys, is that even as army builders, there's room there. You can see how you can even customize them. And I'm already thinking in my head, man. Oh my god, I'm already thinking of a couple people on Instagram that I know they're gonna love to get their hands on these, and then start doing that. They're gonna start customizing and painting them up, and it's gonna be. I'm excited to see those images.
That's kind of our hope. Like I'm also like I have an Instagram handle with some of my customs.
Plug away, by the way. Feel free to plug, guys, because if you don't,
yeah.
we're gonna try to add everything at the end.
My personal Instagram is playing with myself that you can see right here.
That's also his OnlyFans. Just throwing it out there.
Exactly. My customizing Instagram handle is Industrial Strength Customs. All of it you can find in my Instagram. I have one of those link tree things with all the different links. But obviously we have the Cursed Dead is the main one that we want people to go take a look at, and the Cursed Dead is the.cursed.dead. And yeah, you can find us on, we have our own website, we have our YouTube page, which is just at the Cursed Dead, all one word. And yeah, the curseddead.com website has links to all of this. So yeah, you can definitely go check it all out. But yeah, customizing is near and dear to me. So I love hearing that. And it is kind of, we want that. We want to encourage that. And that's some of the bundle options in the Kickstarter kind of encourage people to buy multiples, whether that's through army building or customizing. So it's you can buy a Drinker 3-pack at a reduced price, and then Hate and Rage, which are 2 of the demons. It's the black demon and the red demon, which both also come with the articulated jaw skull heads, and they look awesome like that. I actually personally kind of prefer them with the skull heads in those bright primary red, and then the all black with the skull head. They look dope. We will be posting pictures of that stuff over the course of the campaign for sure.
Nice.
But you could buy a 2-pack of Hate and Rage because they're the demon brothers. So we wanted to encourage people to get the both of them. So you can, if you buy the double pack of them, the price drops a little bit. And what's cool with the Kickstarter is if you wanted to buy the Brood 3-pack, but you're also interested in the Demon Brother 2-pack, what you could do is you always pick the pledge that's the highest pledge, whatever has the most stuff that you want in it. And then after you do that, there's a section in there called add-ons, and the add-ons actually have all those bundle deals and individual figures separately that you can tack on to your pledge. So and honestly, these figures, we want them out there, or we want to put them, we want them available on Big Bad Toy Store. We're in talks with them as well. But The Kickstarter campaign is going to be the cheapest place that you can get them and who gets them first. So if you're like I am and you have no chill and you can't wait to get stuff in your hand,
I don't know what that's like at all.
Yeah, Kickstarter is the way to go, and
going all
you save a few bucks. Yeah, and the other thing is like Kickstarter in general, like they don't collect your money right now. Like it's like you can go pledge right now for whatever dollar amount you want, and they're not going to take it from you. They will charge you once the campaign is over, but the campaign doesn't end until Saturday, February 1st. So we have a couple Fridays, payday schedules, guys, before February 1st. Which, sorry, that's a Saturday. So you have a couple Fridays before Saturday, February 1st. And pledging now helps us get closer to those stretch goals that I really want to start showing people, because I think they'll be really excited about the other stuff we have planned.
Yeah. I mean, it seems really exciting. And speaking of the articulation, what's really cool about that is it really appeals to a lot of like toy photographers as well.
Yes.
So doing that, I think that's going to be very exciting also to see how, like 1/6 shooter, someone like that getting a hold of those guys.
You mentioned 1/6 shooter. I feel like I'm not necessarily supposed to blow up his spot, but I do know Trevor. I've met him at conventions, talked to him online a lot, and there is a chance that I may be packing up and shipping out a few of our prototypes that may be headed in that general direction soon, because he was like, hey man, I'd really love to shoot some pictures of those. I really dig some of the characters. And I'm like, dude, I honestly, the only reason why I didn't ask a lot of the toy photographers is, I think you saw, these are 3D printed prototypes. They're not production action figures, so stuff falls off, and like they're the joint tolerances aren't all there. Some of the points of articulation on some of the paint masters, we actually glued them in place so that way we could bring them to San Diego Comic-Con, Legions Con, Designer Con, and so they're not like posable. They're not like a production toy, super easy for people to photograph. But obviously people like Trevor 1/6 shooter, he's used to shooting prototypes because he shoots prototypes for the Four Horsemen. So he was like, not a big deal. So
he knows what he's messing with.
Yeah. That's so exciting.
Maybe some cool pictures coming soon.
So that's awesome.
So at Designer Con, you guys were there recently, but you were with other
Unreleased Universe. So yeah, unfortunately, despite the fact that I'm an East Coast transplant and I'm a New Yorker and Legion's Con's in Jersey, I would have loved to go, but I had just gotten back from a birthday Halloween trip to New Orleans, so I wasn't able to take the time off work and afford a plane ticket. But Unparalleled Universe is a friend of mine. Like we do some streams together, and I've known him for many years now. And he was kind enough because he had a little table set up for his Odious action figure.
Right. The Bigfoot.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's a weird piece. Sorry.
It is. It's
He's
him.
got pants on. It's like Harry and the Hendersons.
Him in a nutshell, and it's great. I am so proud of him for getting that done. And he's actually released a few versions of it now for different exclusives, and it's super cool. I'm a big supporter with anyone in this toy community that's passionate and doing something they're passionate about. It's that's dope. I love it. So I'm doing my best to support him, and he was kind enough to show off our stuff at Legions Con and kind of be a little bit of a salesman for us. He gave me shit about it, but he did it.
Yeah, I haven't gotten an Odious yet. I've been trying to. We have we set up at shows as vendors.
Oh,
usually
nice.
Our own personal collections that we're getting rid of. And we have a customer who comes around. He always brags about it. He's like, I'm going to bring it one day and show you. So I wanted to see it in hand.
It's a lot of fun to mess with. It's like
I get that a lot. It's fine.
it's really posable, has a ton of hands, a bunch of heads, soft goods. So it's if that's what you're into, it's a very cool figure, and like, yeah, I dig it. I know Phil has at least one, if not two, right?
Two.
Yeah. So yeah, we're firm believers in like supporting the indie toy movement, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, this is, the Four Horsemen. I like, yeah, I don't think you can call them an indie toy company anymore. Like, they're up there, and it's like, it's badass. They grew out of guys that were just like what Phil did. They were sculpting for other people, originally for McFarlane, and then they worked for Mattel, and then they broke out on their own and made their own toy line, and now like that's their big thing. It's the big focus. And
I think they even did some for NECA too. Like, they've been all over the place.
Absolutely.
The humor of how they worked for McFarlane and then they kind of left to do their own thing. Kind of like how McFarlane back in the day, working for Marvel.
He worked for McFarlane for a little bit too.
Yeah.
So did you do McFarlane when Tortured Souls came out?
I did McFarlane Wave 2, man.
Yeah.
I did the Spawn for Wave 2, and the Redeemer, and I ended up doing a lot of the Youngblood stuff. Well, some of
He's got like a crazy ass portfolio, and he can't even remember.
So when I worked in the record store, like, this is way back, like, we actually had records. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, there's records at Walmart now.
All right, calm down. All right, so we were selling records,
Hipster.
and before we went corporate, damn the man saved the empire. But we were selling records, and
I love that movie, by the way.
I love that movie.
I got that reference.
That's dope.
It's Rex Manning Day.
It's not Rex Manning Day, but yeah. So as we started transitioning to corporate, they started bringing in things like toys and things like that. So all of a sudden, I'm walking in the store one day and I'm like putting away stuff, and I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And I'm looking at the shelf, and we have like a rack of. I actually bought at the time, but we had NECA, early NECA. I had the Heat Miser and Snow Miser NECA toys. A Sam Goody exclusive at the time. They're great. I'm not going to get into that. It's a whole other thing. But we had the Tortured Souls. And I remember seeing these things, and I'm like, these things are fucking crazy, man. And I didn't buy
on all those like church lists for like, don't buy these toys,
dude. But they were super sick. And then one of the best toys that I think Spawn made, and I don't know, Phil, I don't know if you had a hand in this at all.
No, it was probably not me.
Oh.
I was out of there. I was out of there quickly.
It was called Interlocking Spawn.
Oh, and that was the mech too. The individual mechs, and then
yes. I'm a mecha guy. So 18-inch Spawn mecha.
I don't know if you only like domestic mech, but like I got an Evangelion shelf here, and then right above it is my grandfather mech stuff, which is Robotech. Like,
yes,
Robotech is what was my introduction into anime, and like
Johnny and I
love Robotech.
Robotech and Guyver.
Oh, Guyver, yes.
The new Figma release of Guyver was.
Oh, I love that.
So your one character, I'm sorry, I apologize, I don't know the name, and I have to look it up now because I can't think of his name. Dr. Scanty?
Yeah. Oh, that's Phil's favorite.
Yeah.
So when I saw that figure, the first thing that popped in my head was, is that motherfucker a Guyver? Like, is he is he from Guyver?
I'm glad that you say that, because someone else, like I said, I mentioned I'm a anime guy, and someone mentioned that it's like, it could be a villain from Dan to Dan, which is like a newer anime that's out. Yeah. So many people are finding different influences in that figure. I know Phil had his own specific set of influences.
Well, no, there's a few, but yeah, the Guyver was huge. I love the Guyver. I loved all the future toys. Like I'm a fan of a lot of stuff, and you could see it in the work. Like all the influences I was trying to get everything in there so we had something that looked different.
That's, I mean, I'll tell you, whoever did the development for the Guyver, the movie, when you're watching the movie, all the characters in it, like Steve little Wang. Jim Henson-ish, like real small.
Steve Wang.
But then there's, what's up?
He knows.
It was Steve Wang.
So
he could be making up a name, and we'd all just be like,
yeah, like all the characters are insane, man. Like the fish doctor, like he's just sitting there chilling, and they're gonna beat him up, and he goes, "Nah, screw it, I'm gonna turn into a fish and beat your ass." Yeah. And like Michael Berryman plays Bonehead or whatever they call him in the movie. And I'm like, that's Michael. That made all sense to me all day long. When he transformed, I'm like, yeah, that's Michael Berryman. That's fine. It made sense. But They did such a great job with those characters, so I love to see
But the cartoon, have you seen the cartoon?
influence and other things. You
Have
what
you
now?
seen the cartoon?
The animation.
No.
Oh my god! Yes.
Dude, it's crazy. It's amazing.
It
Oh
is
my God, no.
gory. It is gory.
I'm stuck
too.
on the movie, so
The monsters in the cartoon are bananas. They're amazing.
so
They're
the next
really-
closest thing to something like that for me was and it's a real obscure anime. Nobody ever watches it or knows what it is. It was called Generator Gall, and if you watch that, Gall is the main character, of course, and he becomes almost like a Guyver character, and he's fighting all of these people that turn into monsters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how the hell it wasn't bigger, considering the Guyver did so well, or has a good following, I should say.
It's all kind of like derivative of like Ultraman and stuff originally. Like, but like, yeah, like I mean, like, trust me, I think we're all equal-minded nerds here. Like, all this stuff is great.
I mean, I think this is previous episodes. Tony's mentioned that he wished that McFarlane would get the Turtles license because he wants to see some of the Turtle villains in a much darker tone.
Trust me, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
We can hug it out, Phil. I'm just saying, we can hug it out.
Because his favorite Turtle character is Slash, and he'd love to see a Slash done in like a Tortured Souls type, like just that real dark and gritty.
I'd love to do that. That would be fun as hell.
I
Yeah.
know the cartoon, right? So it's made when Turtles came out. It was all meant to, attract the kids. Like they had to take the comic book that was too dark. How can we market this to kids? And I don't say dumb it down, but we had to like make it friendly and soften the edges and like here's a birthday cake, whatever you want to call it. Just make it as kiddie as possible. And that's fine. That's sold millions of toys, and that's great. And I love that, and I appreciate that as a kid because that's what I grew up with. But the comic books and the movies, and like the movie was so gritty, and I'm like, the first movie was so good, it could have been so much darker and nasty. And they did a good job with
And
what
the
they put
Mirage
out.
comics were pretty dark originally too. Like it's like people
Right.
died and stuff in them, and then like
Shredder was right. In
Yeah.
the
And then
But I want to see those figures.
exactly, and like I think that like we're probably heading in that direction though, right? Because like Last Ronin was really popular as a comic, and now rumored because of like the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, they're like talking about doing dark turtle live action movie.
Have you seen the short film?
Yes.
Whoever that person is, hats off, because they are
Looks so
absolutely the
good.
godfather of that movie right now. That's
Yeah.
the great concept.
Yeah. Even though wasn't it the everyone's least favorite turtle? I shouldn't say that without to asking you guys who your favorite turtle is.
Well, mine's Mikey.
I mean, I don't care if he dies. Raphael all day
Yeah.
long. I liked Raphael because he was the hothead and he ran into everything. And there was
I'm back and forth between Raphael and Michelangelo personally.
Yeah.
Like it's like Michelangelo I think was the first figure that I really had as like my brother and I have a brother that's 4 years younger than I am, and we got two Ninja Turtles, and it was Leonardo and Michelangelo were like the first two that we saw in like a KB Toys.
Yep.
That we hadn't, the cartoon hadn't even hit yet, or we hadn't seen it, and we were just like, we saw them in KB, and we were just like, these are awesome. So we like picked out those two and brought them home and basically fought over like, who gets to play with which one. So I, despite making fun of Leonardo, I do have a soft. You need all four turtles. All four,
Yeah.
they're brothers. All four are necessary.
Yeah, you need
But
all four.
obviously, growing up, angsty Raphael suddenly became the coolest one to me. So back and forth, if I had to pick, it's like Michelangelo, Raphael, like one of those two.
As a kid, it was always Michelangelo, but as I got older and I started hating the world, Raphael made a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Right?
That just tells you how dark I was at 7 years old. That's fantastic, man. It's just
Phil, who's your favorite turtle?
great line, but
As a kid, when I read the comics and I had the lead miniatures, Raph. But then
Did you lick the lead miniatures?
I did not. But then as an adult, I think Donnie's my favorite.
Yeah,
Do you know what's
Donnie is a lot
crazy?
cooler.
Donnie. So
Yes,
here's the funny part.
dude.
When I was a kid, obviously I had them all, right? My brother had them all, and your parents they bought you turtles. They were cheap, and you got turtles. But the the best toy figure I played with was Donnie. I don't know why. Like, I loved Raphael. He was my favorite character, but when it came to playability, Donnie was cool.
Donnie, to me, like when I was a kid, Donnie was my least favorite one, and I think it was because it was like he's purple, and I think I associated purple
being
like
a girl,
not being as cool boy color,
Yeah.
but that changed pretty early on for me. Like when the arcade game came out, and Donnie was the best playable character in the game. Like the reach with the bow, like he could.
I speedrun that game.
up.
Yes.
So all of a sudden I was like, whoa, Donatello is way cooler. And then as you get older and you realize that like he's the smart one out of all of them, it's like all of a sudden the respect shoots up for Donnie.
Yeah.
That is so cool. So I actually, for fun, I watch a lot of, if you guys don't know what GDQ is, it's Games Done Quick. And they're awesome. They raise money for cancer. It's a really cool cause. And there's a one speedrunner. His name is Elrock. And he looks like an out-of-work math teacher. He's a great guy, though. But he speedruns the arcade game. And I watched it so much. One day I'm sitting down. I'm like, I used to play this game as a kid. I can do this. So I started playing the game. And I started speedrunning against he was a record holder. So I started speedrunning against Elrock. And I got closer and closer and closer. I can't beat him yet. But I got closer and closer to his time. And it's super cool because I just sit there and I'm like, it's just nostalgia. Being a kid. And then like Donnie's the only one that matters because he's got the best reach in the game. He's got the best like hitbox in the game. Yep. And it's fucking crazy how Donnie, of all people, the one that nobody wanted to buy, ends up being the best one for all of these other things. It's just pretty cool.
And they still seem to short pack them too, to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
it's all about the reach.
Awesome. So what else, man? Like, give us whatever you got with this, with the Kickstarter, man. We're excited for it. I hope it takes off, and I hope it happens, and I hope it gets funded, and we get these figures because, again, I love these. Again, I'm gonna harp on the backstories. I'm a backstory guy, and I love these backstories. The Gordy one. So you wrote Gordy also, Phil?
Yeah.
So
well, the
I
concept
like it
was mine.
I'm reading
a buddy of mine helped flesh it out a little bit, but the idea was mine. Someone that kid gets killed, grows out a pumpkin monster, and every time he kills somebody, I don't think it's in the story, but every time he kills somebody, a new face comes on.
Which I think
that's
is awesome.
That's why there's the multiple carved faces into Gordy's head.
So by the end of the movie, it would be covered in faces.
As I'm reading the story, I had a couple things popping in my head, right? Because everything's got inspirations or whatever.
Yeah.
So when he started reading about how the kid dies and he's in the ground, his coffin, and then the pumpkin vines go into the ground, they start wrapping around the coffin. And I'm like, all right, cool. So in my head, I'm like, Children of the Corn, third one, I think the third one, whichever one, the kid, like, the corn, like, takes him apart, and he's like crucified, but he's torn apart.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic, by the way. But, so it happens with, like, so I'm thinking about with the Gordy story, and I'm like, okay, that's fucking cool. And then, of course, I'm a big Trick or Treat fan because it's a fantastic movie.
Love that movie.
And so immediately in my head, I'm like, okay, can we get Sam to somehow incorporate with, like, I'm thinking short films. Like, I'm reading all these bios, and all I can think of is I know. I'm like,
that's great.
Like, I'm texting you guys. I'm like, the toys are cool. I want to see these short films now.
That was the whole point. Yeah, they're supposed to be short movies or movies just in general. I mean,
honestly, like that's
I've seen worse horror movies that you can
exactly that are out there already, and like that's the idea. It's like
watched them all.
We're toy industry guys. We want to make cool action figures, and like that's what we're doing here. But at the same point, it's like we'd love to see more. Like I'm a comic book guy too. Like I read comic books. I used to go to the comic book store every week. I no longer do that because I mostly can't afford like the time and the space to do that. But I still pick up trade paperbacks and read stuff digitally in general. So it's like I'd love to see this stuff done as comics or an anthology like HBO Max series or a movie. Like, yeah, that's even bigger pipe dream for us though. Like it's like action figures number one, but like this stuff is made to be like an anthology TV series or like what we were talking about earlier, like the original MCU stuff, where it's like introduce all these characters in their own standalone movies, and then, you know, end of the movie bumper after credits scene, you have a character from one of the movies show up in the other movies, and it's like you start to get these horror characters where it's like, oh, all of these monster creatures have to fight the demon guys or something, you know, like it's like we want this to grow and like be its own thing. But at the same time, if you just want to buy our Dr. Crane figure and put him on the shelf with some of your other toys, cool. Whatever you want to do, it's meant to fit all of those different, you know, uses.
Yeah.
See, like, I haven't.
Go ahead, man.
No, I haven't been able to convince myself how to back yet. Because like, there's like 2 or 3 I'm like, I must haves, and I'm like, but then I kind of want the rest. Like, damn.
Well,
so
that's
like,
We all in.
yeah. That's like, this is like the perfect. It gives me the moment to do the spiel that I've been trying to tell everyone. Where it's like,
here we go.
Hey, if you throw a pledge in now, pledging early helps in general because we get closer to that funding goal, which then encourages more people. You know, like the way Kickstarter works is like people wait until it gets funded or wait until the last minute. And it's like, it's a little bit counterintuitive for what that platform is, because the idea is that like, once it gets funded, then we can start doing more stuff. Like that's when it's like, oh, okay, we have enough money to make these. Now let's do even cooler, crazier stuff. And that, like, the fact that you don't get charged until Saturday, February 1st is what's like, hey, like there's no skin off your back, like for the next couple of weeks at least. So getting any kind of a pledge in there. And the other thing is you're not locked in. So like once you go and you put your pledge in, like if you put a pledge in today and tomorrow you're like, oh, I want to add on this character, or like maybe I don't need this guy, or maybe I don't need the 3-pack and I want to get 2 of this guy. You can go in and adjust your pledge whenever you want up until Saturday, February 1st. So it's like all open-ended, and all you're doing is helping us get closer to that funding goal, which is going to just encourage more people. And that's the next point, is like sharing, like honestly. And like, that's like, we just met you guys. I love you guys. I feel like we're friends now. Like it's like we're like-minded.
We like to snuggle, so you know, yeah. Bring it in.
It's like, you know, like that's what I love about like toys and action figures in general. It's like, you know, we have common ground here no matter what. Like we are adults that like action figures and toys, and it's like, that's dope. Like it's not a huge world, but any bit of sharing helps with this project. So it's like, even if it's like you have an Instagram account and only your mom and your grandma are on it, and you're sharing it and they see it, maybe your mom or your grandma actually really likes horror action figures and you don't know. So it's like helping to share and spread the word. You know, that's doing podcasts, live streams, all of this. Like that's the reason we're doing it, is any person, any additional set of eyes on this, it's just going to help us get that word out. And like, that's the most important thing, you know, like we're just 2 guys that have a day job in the toy industry and are trying to launch a toy line. So we need help in getting that like mainstream, like get people to get their eyes on this. And if they're interested, to back it early. And like, then we can start really making cool stuff, you know, like that's what I'm trying to do.
So just
there's
out
so
of
much
curiosity,
promise there, man. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Well, I was out of curiosity. I know you guys are obviously have stuff that you're not sharing yet, and you guys have future plans. But you keep saying wave 1, right? Just in your head, how far out do you actually have planned?
We've teased, if you dig deep back into, you know, like I said, we've been doing this for we've been working on the Cursed Dead for like a little over 5 years now. If you even scroll back through our Instagram, you can see some characters that are not in this wave 1 that we still want to do. Like it's not like we've just scrapped them, but there's Phil has already sculpted and we've printed where there's some samples of a second body type that's a bigger guy. So we have the skinny guy is what this wave 1 is. We have a second body type where we built a werewolf, and this guy called Pig Pig that is like
Oh,
really
oh my God, I'm in.
radical.
I don't care.
And then Phil has also developed, for lack of a better way to describe it, like a Hulk like body size as well. So we're in this. We just need
And humans,
we need
and
help
female,
funding
yeah,
it.
got it all.
Yeah, we're ready to go, and we have ideas, and we have plans that will go out for like many waves. But I know that there's a lot we buy toys, so like it's hard to like talk smack about money, but like it's like I generally live paycheck to paycheck, so
There's always something being shipped.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have enough money to fund manufacturing a toy line. So that's why we're doing this as a Kickstarter campaign. Like, we need help in order to make these things. Like, we're not trying to get rich. I mean, like, making a little bit of money, not losing money is key. Like it would be nice to eventually make some money, but that's not like our initial goal here. What we're trying to do is make wave one, and then from there we can build. Like that's the idea. Is like we're not looking to quit our day jobs. We're looking to like make something, and then make something that we can then grow. That's
also in just wave one, we've not killed, but I've built like 6 other figures off that body.
Yeah.
That we are not showing because there was going to be issues with soft goods would be too insane. We want to make sure we could do soft goods properly. We don't want to like put anything to market that sucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Sure
the fact that we're in the toy industry means that these things need to come out quality, because our reputations kind of depend on that, like, so it's like at the end of the day, we don't want to be putting out product that people are not happy with, because that would suck for us professionally. Yeah. So we want
the best. We want it to be the ideally best product for the most reasonable price, and that's always what I want.
So same with blister packs, right? So if you have things that are planned, in my head, I'm like, I haven't seen anything with wings. So if you had something planned with wings, it's got to fit in the blister pack.
Yeah,
I mean, right? There's a chance that
you could figure that
those
out.
might have been sculpted.
So, just curious, because you guys are in the professional industry, you guys have been in it for years, so why the independent route versus maybe reaching out to some of the other companies you've worked with and seeing?
Nobody wants to do anything that isn't
an established IP.
Yeah. Nobody wants. We're creating new IP. Yeah. I mean, nobody wants to take a chance at IP. I mean, everyone's just going to keep doing
big companies. They want to make a Marvel movie or something, like the equivalent, and it's like now it's like
something established.
Video games,
and we're doing low run. Like the money's there, the margins aren't there.
There are exceptions, because like obviously Four Horsemen are smaller and they're doing their own thing. Mezco does some of their own IP, but it's like those are the smaller guys, and in all honesty, they don't necessarily want to work with outside people. They want to develop their own IP themselves. So like we're kind of trying to do that same thing as them, and that's it. Like it's like honestly, and my other answer for that is like I'm like I said, giant comic book fan. We work on a ton of Marvel Legends. I have a giant shelf of Marvel Legends up here. I still buy them all the time. When you're working on prototypes for other companies, it gets to a point where you hand that prototype, like whether it's a digital prototype or a physical prototype, off to the client, off to the company, like the Hasbro or Mattel or Diamond or Dark Horse, whoever it is, and then they take it across the finish line. And that's where this project for us is different, because we get to make sure that these are exactly how we intended them to be. Meanwhile, when we're doing this work for these other clients, like I can't tell you how often we'll get something in that we were like so excited about, and then we get the final product in and we're like, that's a bummer. This doesn't work the way we had intended it to, or like this sculpted detail like got lost in production or something, like something has happened, and because we're not overseeing that whole process from start to finish, You know, like it's someone else's job, someone's job that's across the country to do that, and they don't necessarily have the same insight on the prototype that we had. So like,
and then cost.
Exactly. Like it's like there, and yeah, like there could be a variety of reasons why it comes out differently, and it's like this is different for us because it's like we get to take it across the finish line, and we get to put something out that like hopefully we're proud of at the end of the day. Like I know I don't want anything to ship that I'm not proud of, so that's I think Phil's likewise.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's one thing I've missed since, back in the 90s. I remember you going to like Toys R Us and you'd see obviously all the big IPs, but there's always those random toy lines that were just there. You see all the one-offs, and those are some of the coolest ones.
Honestly, like that's one of the saddest things about like losing stuff like Toys R Us and KB and all like Tower Records and Sam Goody and all of those other stores that were carrying the more indie toy stuff back in the day, because like you're now like mass market, you're looking at what Walmart and Target, and they don't have the shelf space, like you're looking at just a small amount of aisles with a little limited amount of peg space. So they only do want Star Wars or Marvel or DC or Ninja Turtle. They want established IPs that they know that parents are going to recognize and buy for their kids. Like that's the big ticket for them. Like, of course they do have like, like Target has the collector section now and everything, but it's like, it's not quite as cool as you want it to be. Like it's getting
not
there.
Really a
like,
collector section.
Yeah. It's a nice step in the direction you want it to go to, but it's still not like what it used to be when we had independent toy stores and so many more, like the thriving comic book industry and everything. We sadly just isn't around as much anymore. Instead, now a lot more online retailers. So that's what we'll be selling on Kickstarter, and then hopefully at a lot of online retailers, and then toy shows and everything.
See, and I think that's kind of sad because when you look at some of the major toy companies and look at Playmates, I mean, they were really on they were on a last leg as far as the U.S. market, before they actually took a chance on Turtles. Look how that paid off for them. So you would think they would recognize their own history and be like, hey, look, these guys, they worked with us. They've made amazing products for us.
Yeah, taking a chance and making a new line. Yeah,
exactly. But you know what?
It's weird.
The day, it's their loss, because I feel like this is huge, man. I think this is going to be something really awesome.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So, do you guys know what Love, Death, and Robots is on Netflix? Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I'm so happy. Yeah. All right. So,
no, and then have you watched any of Secret Level yet? It's the same people that
are
doing.
Yes. I haven't seen that.
Amazon?
It's it's the same like team behind Love, Death, and Robots, but it's all video game properties. Like
that's awesome. Yeah, so when I watched the first season of Love, Death, and Robots, I'm like, this is fucking genius. These short films with great concepts that almost every one of them could have been some kind of feature film.
Yeah. And unrelated, but cool in their own way. Yeah.
And I get that vibe. Again, I'm not trying to butter your toast, man, but I'm reading these
butter away.
Weizie sees it. I'm reading these bios, and some of these things I keep saying about short films because I'm a big B-rated horror kind of guy. And I'd like to see short films, and somebody out there, I'm sure, would be more than willing to animate or concept somehow one of your ideas that for those characters, not myself, I can't draw, and throw that into a Love, Death, and Robots kind of thing. And Netflix buys everything.
Stop motion animation with the actual figures.
That would be dope too. I know a lot of the guys that do that stuff, and like that's I love it.
That stop motion.
The stop motion is something that like I would love to do with our figures.
Give me Gordy, that's all I'm saying.
We do need like with stop motion, like I was showing you guys the 3D printed prototypes and stuff. They don't stay together like a manufactured figure, but once we fingers crossed again, knock on wood, that we get funded and we can make Wave 1. Once we actually have manufactured figures from Wave 1, I would love to commission some of the stop motion guys to do at least some shorts using our figures.
Absolutely.
But like, you do want to have something that stays together and functions a little bit better than a 3D printed prototype. To
Do you have
that kind of stuff?
Do you have Gordy in front of you or no?
We actually do have Gordy.
I'm gonna get
here.
a shirt. Probably says
Gordy?
"Give me Gordy." That's all.
Gordy was actually so back in the day, things when people made prototypes, they did things called 2-ups, which was you sculpt things at double the size, and then when it goes into production, it's actually kind of scanned and recreated and shrunk down, so that way those, think about it like a photocopy. So if you have something big and you shrink a photocopy, it maintains the detail as it gets smaller. So because we did DesignerCon and we really wanted to stand out back in 2019, we did a bunch of the characters as 2-ups, so that way it wasn't just like a 6 to 7 inch figure, it was a 12-inch figure, so that way people walking by our booth would be like, holy crap, what's that?
An attention getter.
So do you have Gordy?
Long story short, Gordy is a 2-up, so
Yes,
it's gonna be really
It's
big.
massive.
And Punker Mike.
So when does that go for sale? I'm just throwing it out there.
Do you guys know? Do you guys know Punker Mike?
Punker Mike? No,
He's a buddy of mine. He's
I know
big,
Fat Mike.
big in the. I know Fat Mike too. I don't know him, but love Fat Mike. Koki the Clown. So
This took a turn.
I'm
I
also
like Phil a lot. I'm just saying.
okay. So as much of a horror fan as I am, I was punk. I was a punk since I was like 12. So
Bro, I lot of old school punk. I love.
That's so dope.
So here's the I love thrash punk, man. I like the dirty, nasty. Like the recordings are terrible and you can't hear anything that's going on, but it's still punk.
yeah. Well, you want to hear something new that's weird? Check out Nate No Name from Long
What is
Beach.
it?
Nate No Name. It says it's not punk. It's like weird cholo goth, but it's like
Cholo Goth?
cholo goth and
Cholo
punk,
goth.
and it's like dirty as shit. It's awesome. Nate.
So
No
you
Name.
just hear essay a lot?
No. There's no. It doesn't sound like a cholo, but he looks like a straight up cholo. He
That's
looks like a
dope,
veterano.
dude.
Yeah.
That's fucking great. So that is essentially the prototype concept figure you guys took to the show.
Yeah. And Punker Mike painted that.
Yeah,
Nice.
he's a talented. He's on Instagram.
He's
handle
awesome. Yeah, you should all follow him at Punker
But
Mike.
yeah,
He's
he,
awesome.
He's a great customizer.
Definitely
He's
not.
actually done some stop motion stuff as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, really
Savage.
talented dude, super cool. And
Everybody should follow up Punker Mike.
we did get a couple people in like the toy community to help out with prototypes because like we've been friends with these guys. So Punker Mike painted this one and Dr. Scante also. And then Artman Customs Nico had painted
Yeah, that's Mike.
Crankle for
Is
us.
that him?
Yeah,
That's him.
Sorry. I apologize. I wanted to make sure I got
No
it.
problem.
Yeah.
That's him.
That is
Hell
him.
yeah, man. So I'm gonna make sure I follow you guys as well. So guys, I feel like we go on for like another hour easily, but thank you guys so much for coming on board, man.
Did
We're
we just
excited about
become
what you got
best
going on.
friends?
Dude, please, did we get you through Chris or Johnny? Who reached out? Chris. All right. So please, let's make sure we get your information. If Chris doesn't already have it, love to add you guys. More conversations. Phil, I feel like we could talk about B-rated horror until we throw up.
Yeah. Got into all
But
that.
you guys have been awesome, man. I'd love to get you back on. I'd love to know that after February 1st, we get you back on and we talk about all your successes.
Yeah, next steps and future stuff
Yeah.
and
Or
other
you can
stuff
watch
that we
us
work
cry
on.
because
Yeah.
we didn't make it happen.
Yeah, we're all just like really sad.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's
Real
just all
bad.
tears, and we're all like
Yeah,
We don't
eating
know
ice
you
cream. And
guys.
I don't know.
I'll start drinking again. It'll be great. I'll be.
That's why everyone needs to get their pledges in early. Let's get this thing funded so that way we could just celebrate, be happy, and move forward.
It's
more cool
very
shit.
cool, man. You guys did a lot of really good stuff, and we're all very excited about it. I know, Weizie and Johnny both, man. Again, they're big Mythic Legion fans, and I'm really not. But for some reason, I think it's because you guys have stories. I keep rehashing it, keep going
it's
back to
hard.
it, but I know, but that's my thing. I like to hear a story. Give me something, some reason to enjoy the character.
I was
Besides
gonna
just
pull out
look
my
good.
my
He watches
Valentine,
porn
but
for the
it's down
stories.
there on the shelf.
Yeah, same thing. I watch the porn for the stories. You know, the same way I read the articles. But as always, guys, thank you so much for coming out. Shellheads, we've had a great time tonight. We've been here with Mr. Adam, Mr. Phil. They have done some of the coolest stuff we've seen in a long time. If you're not, please go out there and back it. Guys, go ahead and shamelessly plug for yourselves.
Yeah, you can check me out at Playing With Myself on Instagram. And yeah, also the period cursed period dead. And yeah, please go pledge back early. You don't get charged until February 1st. And share with your friends. I'm telling you, I don't care how many followers you have. Every little bit helps, man. So much appreciated to everyone that's been sharing.
I don't know how to find the horror heads for this, because actually the fact that you're reacting to it the way that you're reacting to it makes me happy, because that is my shit. So
yeah, we're a lot more connected with toy
head.
people, and like a lot less with like the horror community. And like I don't know, like yeah, anyone that knows anyone, please tell them about us.
I'm just saying, I would probably whip my hair once in a while. You guys are definitely creeping into that genre. It's just like, look, I'll throw it out there like Krampus, right? It's a Christmas movie, right? Yeah. But it's a horror movie. But it's such a good movie.
I loved the Krampus movie, and I love the design of it. I wish the NECA figure had a little bit more articulation, but I will say this: if you scroll back on the Cursed Dead Instagram, Phil actually sculpted a Krampus on the second body that we would do, the slightly bigger body. So you can see a tease of our take on Krampus.
It's not done, but you'll appreciate the rattlers around, the baby rattlers around his neck.
That's sick.
A necklace of baby rattles and pacifiers.
That is so
dark.
Sick.
It's very dark.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go look now just for the hell. That's fucking awesome. But
incredible.
And watch the video of the Crankle.
The Crankle video.
Yeah.
For sure, man. I'll be listening for your voice. Johnny, go for it.
j5toys.com. You guys already know, free shipping. Also, Linktree, support Grub Sport. We got Deatheroni's already done up. We got McPain and Jellykill coming out soon. So
I want Jacques Van Clam.
Oh, it's in the works. So here's a
hell
yeah.
So
nice.
That's dope.
That's cool, so man. This was actually sculpted by Scott Hensley.
I know that's super cool.
Oh, wait, old school Scott Hensley?
Yep.
Oh, dude. So yeah, that was he was the other half of Varner did mostly like the turtles, and he did a lot of the bad guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's so cool.
Small toy world.
That's awesome.
That's so freaking awesome.
We got those guys coming out. So of course, buy the merch, buy the coloring books. All of that goes to fund more sculpt work to get done by that.
My son's got the coloring book. He did a great job, man. It's dope. Weizie.
No, I've got nothing to plug right now. I'm just really looking forward to putting my order in tonight, because I'm gonna make a decision on what I'm doing. It's gonna be done tonight.
Go all in, Weizie. All in.
I'm gonna do whatever. I'm not even worried about it. Whatever you guys got on there, I'll probably go for. Gordy, though, I'm more excited about that than anything, because in my head I'm just like, can we please get a movie or a short film out of it?
He's my favorite horror story.
It's so great. I liked Pumpkinhead as a kid.
Oh yeah, of course.
So, and I know it's not the same, but I liked Pumpkinhead, or anything that associates that Halloween-esque kind of like creep out kind of thing. You know, it's why Trick or Treat did such a good job for me, in my opinion. So many short films in one. I love short films, and I love when horror movies follow that.
I'll tell you one. Sorry to go long here.
No, go ahead, man.
So I designed this thing, made this thing, and then I caught a movie on Prime called Dark Harvest. And the thing looks pretty close to Gordy. It's good. And everybody wears these kids wear masks. They're the fiend mask, the Misfits fiend mask.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
It's set in the 50s, dude. It's
yeah.
Sorry, I'm plugging other shit, but
no, dude, I don't care. It's cool.
It's an awesome
Adam,
movie.
sorry.
It's an awesome movie. My wife and I love that.
Oh, you saw it? Yeah, it's good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, shit. And when I saw the thing, I was like, it looks just like art. It looks.
I love stuff like that when
Yeah.
people plug movies that like have inspired or become the spinning point for other movies, right?
This
So like you have like the House of October Bill.
Way after, dude.
Yeah, but it's great though. It's awesome.
I
Like
saw
I
it and was
love
like,
that kind of
damn,
stuff.
that looks good.
We have the Instagram proof of when you first posted Gordy. So there you go.
I also
Maybe you inspired Dark Harvest, Phil.
Yeah, nah, probably not. Pumpkin heads have been around for a long time.
I like it. I think it's a cool concept, a cool character.
There's always going to be something similar that's
exactly.
out there, and it's like there's that saying: "There's nothing new under the sun."
Exactly.
But I think what you guys are doing is something really, really great and really interesting and unique, and I think it's much needed. I mean, how many times has Weizie? How many times have you mentioned to me like you would love to see a Wendigo figure? And this comes the fuck out, and it's perfect. It's almost like the universe heard it.
Yes, I didn't know like where I saw it. Like it just popped up on my Instagram. I'm like, holy shit! And then I was like, oh, this has been around for a couple years. Like, how did I miss this?
And it's Tuesday when we're recording this. And I will tell you that we're, as I mentioned, we're teasing stuff out through the month. We're starting tomorrow a little thing. The Wendigo is like my personal favorite, and we're starting up Wendigo Wednesdays tomorrow.
Tune in for that.
Whew. I take it to heart when we do drinks and toys, guys. I'm just saying.
Nice.
So, guys, again, very cool. I'll plug, but I won't plug. Shellhead Toys. We've got our website. Chris knows we've got everything down in the comments. You guys can all click on links or whatever and get to where you want to be. We carry turtles. We carry damn near everything, whatever we can get our hands on. But you guys, it's been a pleasure tonight, man. We've had a great time.
A pleasure to meet you guys.
Again, would love to have you back in February. We love the banter. We just like having a good time. We get a little drinks in us, have a good time, just bullshit and talk. And we usually lately have been going live because we love the banter from the crowd.
Oh, getting chat in there and stuff.
Yeah. So here's the problem with that. I can tell that we all like to talk, so I know what would happen is we get on this chat
for hours,
and this shit would be like 4 hours
it's
long.
It's a marathon stream, guys.
I got school tomorrow, man. I got to go to bed. But
my dog can stop chewing on prototypes.
Right, but I think it'd be really cool, a cool time. And again, you guys have been awesome, and thank you so much for coming on board. And as always,
if I come back on, I'll pull out the unproduced Ninja Turtle clay that I have.
Oh, yeah.
Can we wait? Can you do it now?
Correct.
I'm sorry, I can't stand up.
It's you can find it on my Instagram. It's
not the same.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I have the I don't know if I have it right here.
My shorts got tighter. Sorry.
Yeah, I have to go dig for it. But it's elf turtle. It was in the book, the turtle book, a hard plastic.
The one that Pixel Dan did.
Rad plastic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't have that, but I know the book.
He did Masters.
He did Rad plastic. It's called Rad plastic.
Yeah.
The big book. In there is the picture of the elf Ninja Turtle, the clay.
That's so crazy.
That's dope.
Yeah. So
next time.
Yeah, I'll pull it out. I'll have to find it. But
that's how usually you guys start. Right? You start with the wax, and then it goes into.
Dude, long time ago, yeah. We used to do clay to wax, and then Castelline came around, which is a hybrid of both. And now we don't do anything but push pixels.
Nice.
So how do you
actually have the wax of Deferoni here?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he sent it over with the prototype, and I was like, oh my god, but it's so fragile. It's
super fragile. And that's the crazy thing. It's like that's one of the good things about changing to digital sculpt is like you can now send it, over the internet versus back in the day shipping a one-of-a-kind sculpt from if you're working for a client that's across the country, it's like imagine if that gets lost or
they lost an Abomination one time
or like something. It's like prototypes used to get destroyed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like
he was
the Abomination.
He was telling me he was at a meeting, and one of the guys at the meeting spilled coffee on the wax prototype, and it just started falling apart and melting right there. I was like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
that's insane!"
Old school stuff was wild.
I can't right now. Like I could go for another couple hours with this shit. So hold on. So now when you're sculpting, you guys aren't doing an actual like sculpt anymore. You have to like 3D sculpt it.
ZBrush is the program. It's kind of like, think about it like it's like Photoshop, but in 3D.
Yeah. Digital.
So, you guys don't use Blender?
Perceive 3D. Yeah.
I like at work, we like some guys use Blender here and there, but like we're primarily using ZBrush. They use some Maya also, sometimes 3D Studio Max, but like Pixelogic ZBrush is like pretty much the program that most people in the toy industry are using. Like it used to be Freeform, and then Pixelogic ZBrush came out, and that's pretty much taken over the industry. Like that's what people use.
Yeah. So I was actually kind of looking into Maya just to do a little bit of animation.
Yeah, Maya's a little bit more like hard surface modeling, so it depends.
Like,
it's like,
you're right.
If you're doing like organic sculpts, high detail, then ZBrush is the way to go. And I would suggest, ZBrush is actually less expensive as a program than Maya is, and there's a lot of good online courses. Actually, one of our friends who ran a Kickstarter called The Monsters, Dave Igo.
Dave
teaches he teaches ZBrush, Intro to ZBrush class. Yeah, I took it as well, and it's a great class. He's a super cool dude, super cool teacher. But yeah, if you're looking into it, I would suggest ZBrush is probably the path you'd want to go.
Yep,
definitely. All right, awesome.
Oh my god. I'm sitting here and I'm like, this could keep going. I'm like, if we don't cancel this at some point, this is going to go on way too long. But guys, I say begging, but I'm gonna tell you, we got to do this again because I think this would go on forever. And if not about the Kickstarter, which is awesome, I don't want to take away from that. I think you guys, we could have conversation for days about pretty much anything.
Oh yeah, we're nerds and we love this. So yeah,
that's what we're about, man. It's drinks and toys. We talk about anything and everything, a passion for all. And when we do it with the with our our people out there in the world in internet land or whatever, whenever we throw on a live cast, we get a couple repeats and we get a couple newbies here and there, or people we do toy shows with, and it's just constant banter, and it keeps the show rolling. So much fun when you have people that interact. And they're just like, hey, you remember this? Or hey, this, or hey, this. And before you know it, we're off on a tangent for 30 minutes about nothing.
Yeah.
And it's the best fun. Yeah, Chris loves editing them. They're so much fun.
Oh, great.
But, all right. So we'll go ahead and cancel it. Shellheads, we are done. It's been a great night. Enjoyed having our guests on here. A lot of really cool stuff. Get out there and support that Kickstarter. I know I'm going to tonight. I know Weezie's jumping on there tonight. Maybe we'll see some short films. That'll be super dope. Hashtag Gordy Life. I don't know, but I think it's a dope character. So thank you guys for coming out.
Go all
What's
in.
up?
Thank you for having us.
Them all.
Yeah, collect
all in, man. That's what it's about. And as always,
no kicks. I'm in danger.
Yeah.